What are they posting? What are they saying? What is their image on social media? So I always tell parents, make sure that you're friends with your kids and make sure that you're monitoring that social media. Because oftentimes, parents and kids alike, they don't think about the ramifications in the future, right?
You're listening to the SmartSocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Ochs. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday shine online. Now, let's get back to the interview.
I'm Anna Marie Candelario. I am the Director of Individualized Education Services for District 65, that is in Evanston, Illinois. We are a pre-K to 8 district serving over 6,700 students within 18 schools.
I'm Laura Cortez. I am the Associate Superintendent of Educational Services in Greenfield, California. We serve about 3,600 students from pre-kindergarten to 8th grade.
Well, hello, I'm Kimberly Huesing, and I serve as the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services for the Fallbrook Union Elementary School District. And we are located in beautiful Fallbrook, which is in the northernmost part of San Diego County. We have 9 schools. One is a virtual school, and we have about 5,000 students. And we serve students from high socioeconomic to socioeconomically challenged to migrant students to military connected students.
How have you been successful in increasing parent engagement to help keep students safe on social media?
Securely platform is great. We have access to it at the district and school level. I've had so many parent communications where parents were like, I didn't know I could monitor my technology. It's even first teaching them how to use Securely and having that really laid out for them. And we have parents from various demographics, various different languages. So having that accessible to them in their own language is really important. And then also teaching the parents about all the ins and outs of social media has been really important. So although Securely may bring up that there was an alert, but then having a deeper conversation with parents and then providing them resources. There's so many resources around, how the appropriate use of technology, but because there's an abundance, where do you find it? And so at our district, we make sure that it's easily accessible for them.
Every month we have cafecitos with the parents, right? So we invite them in for coffee and we have various topics. And one of them is social media. And we do 2 things. We teach our parents how to use digital platforms and social media and how to get on a Zoom and how to, attend conferences on Zoom and make sure that they feel comfortable with using the social media. And then we teach them, right? One of the tips that I always give parents personally is, and I do this myself as a parent, is I follow my kids. Any social media platform that they have, I follow them because I want to know what type of presence they have. What are they posting? What are they saying? What is their image on social media? So I always tell parents, make sure that you're friends with your kids and make sure that you're monitoring that social media. Because oftentimes, parents and kids alike, they don't think about the ramifications in the future, right? They just posted something that, was not very pleasant. Well, when you go to apply to jobs or to certain, universities, sometimes they look for your digital footprint and what that looks like in your presence. So I always say social media is a privilege, right? Our kids especially, they don't need to be on social media if they don't know how to use it responsibly. But we do use those cafecitos and those opportunities in an intimate setting with parents to show them these are the platforms our kids are using. You've maybe used some of them as well. And make sure that you're monitoring your students.
So we have done training with parents on online safety, internet safety, because we send our Chromebooks home. And then in California, we do something called the LCAP, the Local Control and Accountability Plan. And so then yearly we have engagement programs. It's district-wide to get parents to come out and give responses. So a big part of our budget is the plan is student engagement and also student achievement, right? So you get engagement with parents, both digitally and in person, and student achievement we're tracking with online programs. So those things merge together. So we found that parents are now saying, oh, you can keep those Chromebooks at school. We don't need them at home. It's just one more thing to monitor. So having the ability to share with parents how they can help and monitor and investing in supports for that, that's something we're looking into. So I know that's something Smart Social offers. It's something we're investigating, but I don't think we can downplay the investment of keeping students safe. It's one thing to inform parents. I think I'm an informed parent, but I'm still learning new things about how my daughter interacts online. But then making the smart investment that we're ensuring keeping kids safe. It's something we all have to learn about.
Are there any stories that come to mind about any social media incidents that you've been able to get in front of or avoid by being proactive?
So kids talk and they have a safe person in their building. And that's so important. At the end of the day, we may not have access to their social media accounts, but if they have that one safe person in the school to say, hey, I saw this on the account, it actually has, in the day where we have a lot of threats happening in the school buildings. Kids are taking pictures of inappropriate guns or violence, and then they see a friend showing it and they bring it back to that safe person in the building and say, hey, Miss So and so, Mr. So and so, that I've seen this person posting this on social media. I don't think this is right for the school. And then as the school district, we were able to get ahead of it, utilize our threat assessment protocol, ensure that students were safe coming into the building and connecting with the appropriate authorities. That has happened, unfortunately, multiple times within our district, but it was because, if you see something, say something, and having that safe person is important.
What we're experiencing here in our district is occasional fights that are being recorded. We just try to really make our presence known on social media and really highlight all the wonderful things that are happening. And then we try to just educate our kids. Sometimes those videos are actually helping us determine who was involved, who instigated. So I'm not sure if we're getting ahead of it, but at least, because it has happened, now we can address it with all of our educational partners, students, parents, teachers, staff, etc.
Sometimes we hear about things that impact our community that are not with our students, but it's in the community. So recently, and we did get ahead of this a little bit because we saw it online. Incidentally, you see it online before maybe the police have a chance to call a local school district. So in Fallbrook, within, I think it was 2 months ago, there was unfortunately, like truly sadly, a shooting at a nursery, not even a mile from one of our schools. And so we first saw it online because people saw that the road was blocked off. And then probably about 20 minutes later, we heard from the police with the news. So we were able to get ahead of that when we saw it and then inform our schools and have our soft lockdowns and make sure our schools were safe and students weren't outside, within the immediate area. So I would just say that having a presence online and being able to monitor, and that has to happen at the district level. I'm not expecting principals to be online there with students. So we do have a communications director and we do have a student safety director. And so they work collaboratively and someone's always monitoring the feed. We have to use the tools that are out there to make sure that we're ahead of what could be impacting our schools.
Oh, that's excellent. How can educators and administrators work together to create a culture of digital safety and responsibility in their schools?
Again, it's so funny when you talk about human connection and technology, but human connection is so important when it's related to technology. When we have conversations with administrators, do you have connections with your students to be able for them to have a safe place to come and talk about it? Same thing with parents. Will they come into a building and feel judged because they gave access to their child to various accounts? Like, we need to create that safe community and sense of belonging that no matter what, if you come into our school, we're going to be able to support you. No judgment, no questions asked. And I think no matter, the situation, it's important to have that relationship in order to access the technology that we may not physically have access to.
I think we all need to work together to create that environment of safety and responsibility. I think we need to be talking to our students. I think we all need to have high standards for them. We all need to let them know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Our parents play a huge role in that because we have them during the day, right? And we can educate them here, but then what they do at home, that's really, the parents' responsibility to really continue that learning and ensure that they are using it responsibly.
It has to be integrated. So in our district, we have a lot of resources. We have a portrait of an eighth grader that was developed as aspirational. What do our students have and what are their soft skills when they're leaving eighth grade? And then we have a social and emotional learning curriculum, which is Character Strong. And then we integrate all of that with the Leader in Me, the Stephen Covey round. So I'm going to draw out a picture for you because I didn't say it in the right order on purpose. Because you know how districts, we all have the things that we do, but the why is how they're organized. So in our district, of course, we have our strategic plan, and that is our portrait of an eighth grader. So I happen to have that infographic that we use behind all of our slides. And in Fallbrook Union Elementary School District, we have the philosophy or the vision that an FUSD eighth grader is confident, compassionate, and courageous, and that is a member of their community prepared to make a meaningful contribution to the world, right? And so then these are the attributes that we have. There we go. There's the words caring, scholarly, confident, resilient, and innovative. And that came from the community collaboration for Portrait of an Eighth Grader. So that's at the top of our strategic plan. That's what our LCAP goals lead to. That's what our federal funds, Title 1, 2, 3, 4, all line up to supporting the attributes being developed. Character Strong, which is the social emotional learning curriculum, and our student leadership work together. So have back here my leadership strategies for students. And so we want students to be proactive, to begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, that's number 4. Seek first to understand and then to be understood in their verbal communication. And then synergize, which means put things together, which is what we're doing right now, how we put all these programs together. And then the final one is to sharpen the saw, which is like keep yourself around good people who help you be smarter and continue learning in your career. So that's how we kind of line things up. And we do that also with both, the hard copy books that we're reading, with the digital interactions we have in our classrooms, and then the oral communication we have between students.
Yeah, excellent. Great answer too. So what are your 1 to 2 biggest social media concerns for the future?
Some of my biggest concerns for students are human connection. A lot of times they use social media for validation and that sense of belonging. And that's great to feel connected, but we also need to feel connected in the human world. And so I think that's a huge piece around social media. Bringing the social media into our schools is great, but how do we also keep it connected and ensure that we are humanizing our schools as well? I really hope for future adults that they don't lose that sense of like hardworking, communication, in-person validation, interpersonal skills, that's something that they still hold on to as we merge into such a digital world.
Funding is tough. What advice do you give to other districts to secure funding to create resources that parents need?
Yes. Be creative. There are so many opportunities for grants and for partnerships with companies, and keeping your eyes out and open for that information. A lot of times we tend to be in our bubble, in our educational bubble, but I visited a conference and I learned about so many different organizations that I could bring into our own district. And so that is really important just as a school to kind of expand out there and really look for those opportunities, because we shouldn't allow funding to be a barrier for access to technology.
Thanks for listening to our smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Ochs. This was our District Talk segment where we interview school district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday launch into their future by shining online. This episode was brought to you by our smartsocial.com VIP program. It's called the Very Informed Parent Program, which helps you engage your students with teen-led video lessons. Stay one step ahead with our premium parent newsletter and discover hidden features on trending apps on teens' phones and our 54 plus live parent and student-friendly events every single year. You can click on the link below to chat with one of our team members if you want a free pass to our VIP program to support your community with our smartsocial.com resources. And if you're a district leader who has a success story, we would love to feature you on a future episode. You can click the links below to reach out. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day.